We're talking PDP and the unending crisis in Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party. Let's bring in our next guest, Barrister Okechukwu Osuoha from the Mohammed Abdurrahman-led camp, which is also known as the Wike-backed faction of the PDP, to understand their own side of the argument and what a solution looks like for them. Barrister, good to see you. Thank you so much for joining the conversation.
Thank you for having me.
Right.
It's a pleasure.
You've been a long-term serving PDP member. Yes. Your 2 cents on what you've heard from Alhaji Usman, Alhaji Umar Sani, what he has had to say about their own argument, their position, and what is playing out.
Okay. So thank you so much. I listened to my very good friend and colleague, Alhaji Sani, but I disagree with him because Nigeria is a democratic country. We are practicing democracy, and essentially, and more importantly, democracy must strive by the rule of law.
Right.
So when I'm talking about rule of law, we must be obeying the extant laws of the land. Essentially, the ground norm of our law, the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, then also the Electoral Act, and essentially the Constitution of the People's Democratic Party. Because if you go to Section 2 of the Constitution of PDP, it provided inter alia that all the members and all the organs must be bounded by the provisions of this Constitution. So what is playing out in our party, PDP, is just that some individuals or some people try to allow their personal interest to override the collective interest of the party, and not obeying, abiding by the rule of law, and not obeying court judgments and all that. Let me go again. You saw this issue about convention. When he's talking about, they have a national working committee. I mean, law says you cannot put something on top of nothing and expect it to stand. We planned a national convention. I'm a member of NEC. In the 102 NEC meeting, I was present. We came in there and we were planning for this convention. One of the things we did was to receive the report of the zoning committee headed by the governor of Bayelsa State, Diri. So he came and submitted that report, how they zone, and said, let the status quo be maintained. And in law, when you say status quante ante bellum, means that wherever you were before the matter commence, you should remain there. Then, to interpret more is that all the positions in the north should remain in the north, and those in the south should remain in the south. That was where they ended. They didn't go further to say, go and microzone. They just said, let the status quo be maintained. So we received that report. And also, there were critical decisions we took in that 102 NEC meeting. One of them is that there were a lot of places in Nigeria where congresses have not taken place. I still remember. Essentially in the south is Ebonyi State, Anambra State. The zonal congress that supposedly have taken place in the southeast was nullified by the court. And the NEC took another decision and said, mandated the NWC to go and conduct all those fresh congresses in all those states. Because what it tantamount, if you don't do congresses before you go for convention, it means that you are trying to exclude or disenfranchise some people. Because it is in those congresses, because party is an association. And the way you talk about party, we have organs and structures, right from the ward level to the local government level to the state level before you go national level. So if you want to go for convention, you do congresses across the whole place so that you generate the delegates who are going to vote in that convention.
But you heard him say that there were no vacuums.
That's what I'm saying. Now, if he's here now, I will tell you, the 102 NEC meeting, the NEC, we took a decision and said, go and do those congresses. And they refused to do it. And that was what prompted, that made some aggrieved party members, to approach the Federal High Court. They went to Federal High Court, the first group. They went there, and the court looked at the matter. And when they saw the whole matter before them, the facts, they said, yes, that the matter was brought before them was not bordering on the internal affairs of the party. That it was as a result of violation of extant laws of the land. Nigeria is a democratic society. It's not a place that is not, we can't rule by anarchy. Are you hearing me? So they now approached the court. The court gave a judgment, an unambiguous and clear judgment, and said, no, don't go for convention. Put that convention on hold. Go and put your things and your house in order. As you even were just Still, that judgment was subsisting. Another matter came before the Federal High Court. The one that concerned the former governor of Jigawa State, Alhaji Sule Lamido, who was a founding member of PDP. He wanted to go for the national chairman of the party. He went to go and buy form in the party secretariat. He didn't purchase any form. He was denied that right of buying form because there was things that happened in this the plan convention. In 2021, when I contested to be the Deputy National Legal Advisor, I had an opportunity. I went to the National Organizing Secretary's office and bought my form then. Everything was thrown open and people had the chance to participate, free participation. But in this concern, they just printed form and went and hid the form. They weren't giving it to anybody. Even it was not even known to the National Organizing Secretary, Captain Bature. All those impunities. So when they were doing it, they called this Alhaji Lamido, approached the Federal High Court.
Right.
The Federal High Court gave another judgment. Let me end up with this analogy. And say, don't go for convention. Put that convention on hold. Go and put your house in order. Do the proper things in law. Obey the extant laws of the land, the Electoral Act and the Electoral INEC guideline and everything. So when they didn't do it, what they're not doing. And we have a law in Nigeria, in the Constitution, we have hierarchy of courts. If a court of competent jurisdiction gives a judgment, even if that judgment is per curiam or per incuriam, what it means, if it is in order or is not in order, if you are dissatisfied, the process or the procedure is to apply for stay of execution of that judgment and go and appeal in an appellate court. That's why the Constitution provided for Section 249 for Federal High Court, provided for Section 270 of the State High Court, and Section 237 for Appeal Court. But what we saw, what we call judicial rascality, they didn't even, that's why the abuse of court process. They ran to Badan, a state high court, which
has jurisdiction,
which
just
has
to be clear.
But a coordinate jurisdiction with the Federal High Court. There's no way they went and obtained an ex parte order. When you talk about ex parte order, it's an interim order that lasts for 7 days. How can an ex parte order override or set aside or nullify a judgment of a court of competent jurisdiction?
On the Friday, which is the eve of the November 15 and 16,
exactly,
they did get another order again.
Just extend that ex parte order.
Right.
I have explained to you how can an ex parte order override a substituting judgment of a competent court of jurisdiction, Federal High Court. Are you hearing me? Right. That's why, even one of the parties to that matter in Oyo High Court was INEC. INEC is a federal institution. And that's why we are in a federation. We have Federal High Court and State High Court. INEC was a party to that matter. Are you hearing me?
Right.
Where they were compelling INEC to come and observe the convention in that Oyo State High Court. And the INEC did not observe. Are you hearing me? Even the substantive matter is going on now. INEC last week went to that court and moved the motion for a preliminary objection that they are a federal agency and that there's no way State High Court can have jurisdiction over a federal agency. Even the court now delisted INEC from that matter. What does he imply? What does he show you?
I think the legal ramifications will eventually come out.
Exactly.
When some of these things are
so the appeal court, the matter is pending before the appeal.
Yeah, but politically speaking, there are people who are observing these developments, whether they have a dog in the fight or not, who can clearly make out and say that there are two groups of people, good and bad faith actors, people who mean well for the PDP and people who are just playing a script. And it does look like, from the outside looking in, without any sort of emotional attachment to the conversation, that it looks like the Turaki-led National Working Committee are much more preserving of seeing that PDP exists as a political party playing the opposition card. And on the other side, you have the Mohammed camp backed by the Wike forces, who are bad faith actors, who are simply playing out this role to the benefit of the APC, because we do know where the Minister of the FCT stands when it comes to 2027. Isn't that, in the final analysis, what really matters? The motivations are different from one camp to the other. One camp wants to preserve the PDP in its original form, and the other camp wants PDP destabilized up until 2027.
That's an assertion. And in law, he who asserts in law, the burden of proof will rest upon you, and you prove beyond reasonable doubt, because I see it as speculation. How can you say, that's why I disagree with you, I dispute? Because what are the facts? You're talking about Turaki-led administration, and I've told you there's not even any that administration, because the law says you can't put something on top of nothing and expect it to stand. We have procedures in law. Nigeria is not a banana republic.
At the moment,
when a convention, I told you that convention was unlawful. Are you hearing me?
When it has not been determined yet.
But from all indication, for what is on the ground, are you hearing me? When INEC did not observe it, it shows you that, because INEC is the regulatory body, the institution that regulates political parties in Nigeria. And it is the onus, it is apparent for them to observe every activities of the political party. Even they observe NEC meetings, and not an organ that is a convention.
Quoted the Labour Party situation with Julius Abure.
Let me end up like what I'm trying to tell you. For somebody to say the Abdullahi Ahmed led the National Working the caretaker committee is legitimate because in process. Because I have to tell you, before when my tenure was expiring, the National Working Committee, the Abdullahi led the group NWC. They convened the NEC meeting. And in law, even in our party constitution, section 36, it's the national secretary that has the duties to convene meetings, to summon meetings, to issue notices for meetings. Are you hearing me? They convened the NEC meeting. And in that NEC meeting, because of the expiration of that NWC.
Does he have the powers to do that?
Yes, by section 36, to issue notices. Yeah, correspondences to INEC, he is the person who does it. Issue notices for meetings, both NWC meeting, NEC meeting, and even convention. He's the secretary, national secretary office. Go to the constitution, section 36.
No, I'm saying, where did he get his powers from?
That's what I'm saying. Now he's the national secretary. You have said it. Even I saw you when you were still interviewing my colleague. Secretary's name is still in the INEC portal. He is the national secretary.
You're talking about Senator Anyanwu Abdurrahman.
Senator Anyanwu.
Right.
Yes, he issued a NEC meeting, a notice for NEC meeting. And we had an emergency, a NEC meeting, where that expiring NWC was removed or nullified. And then a new caretaker committee was appointed, by the NEC.
Which members of the NEC attended that exactly?
Yes, all the members.
All the members of the NEC. Are you certain about that, Barrister?
That day I was there in that NEC meeting, 104 NEC meeting. Right. The national organizing secretary then, that's Captain Bature, was the one who accredited all the legitimate members, the ex-officials, the state chairman, the NWC members, BOTs, who were there, and we formed quorum. Are you hearing me? And the meeting held, and it was in that place that the National Caretaker Committee, 13 members, was now established and given 60 days to go and correct all these anomalies. So essentially, these anomalies of not having conducted congresses in some states. As I'm talking to you now, they have even appointed some caretaker committee in some of the places in the southeast. Are you hearing me? And they have now started processes of going to conduct proper congresses before they will now do an authentic and lawful convention. So that is a process in law. So Nigeria is a democratic society.
You clearly don't accept the Ibadan Convention, which essentially on that particular day expelled all the key players that formed this Abdurrahman Caretaker Committee, right? So you dismiss...
Yes, because I have already told you that in law you can't put something on top of nothing. If you don't have authority, there are a process. We have a legitimate...
Like we've already established, there's no competent court of law that has invalidated that convention yet. So you cannot authoritatively say that it's invalid.
But from what transferred? Right. Are you hearing me? We have procedural law. And we have, like I have told you that there are organs.
Is it fair to say that these are your assertions? These are your assertions.
They are organs of the party.
Right.
And when I told you there's a substituting 2-court judgment, Federal High Court say don't do this. Are you hearing me? Right. Instead of obeying that court judgment, are we in a banana republic? Are you hearing me? You just run to another court of coordinate jurisdiction and obtain an ex parte order. And interim and told them go and proceed to do convention. And there's no way a court of coordinate jurisdiction and order can set aside a judgment of a federal high court. Are you hearing me? So that's why I'm telling you that what they should have done is to apply for a stay of execution and appeal that the matter. They didn't do that. Going to violate or disobey court judgment, and they go and conduct an unlawful convention. And even in that convention, INEC, that is a regulatory body that appears in every NEC meeting, that's supposed to observe that convention where you produce national officers that will run the affairs of the party in the next 4 years. INEC did not appear. Are you hearing me? So what does it imply? What does it tell you that it was an unlawful convention?
Let's talk about the
And that's what up till now. Well, let me just give you this instance now. Up till now, okay, those people who went to Oyo State High Court and obtained an ex parte order to compel INEC to come and monitor them. Are you getting my point? And then when INEC did not appear, they came back and said that they have elected national officers. Then when they came back, they still went and approached the Federal High Court. There's a matter they now apply to the Federal High Court to compel INEC to recognize them. So if you did something legitimate, will you be going to court to say, come and they recognize me? Are you hearing me? By now, that's why you saw the INEC portal. You saw the INEC portal that their names are not there in the INEC portal.
Right.
And this convention, they are legitimate. By now,
and Abdullah's name is also not there.
Because there are squabbles, there is conflict, like you have mentioned.
Right.
Court will give a proper interpretation and the law.
Okay, and until then,
yes,
everybody has a right to claim whatever they want to claim.
Exactly. Let them be claim. But for me, who is a lawyer, I know where it is going to.
Barrister,
are you hearing me?
The end game, Barrister,
yes,
in just under a minute. And I feel like you didn't answer the question. The assertion that people have, that there is one side who genuinely cares about the PDP, then the other side who cares about the PDP being in dysfunction because it works for the APC. And that is mainly because people can draw and extrapolate what the FCT minister has said, that he is going to work for, let me respond to that. For the re-election. Let me respond to that. Let me respond to finally,
that. Concerning the FCT minister, he's an individual, he's a citizen. He has his right to aspire to, we have freedom of speech. If he says, I want to...
As a PDP member, let me come now. For the PDP?
There's a book that was written by the late Achebe, the literary icon. Before he died, there was a country. If you go in the beginning of the beginning of that book, he stated that the man who, there's an adage in Igbo land, that the man who cannot state where the rain began to beat him cannot actually state where he dried his body. There was a place where this rain began to beat PDP. In 2023 election, you remember what transpired, what happened. So if Wike says they want to support PDP,
you think it's okay for a PDP member
what I'm trying to tell you, for me,
actively
let me address it. I say I'm a PDP member. When we get to the bridge, we have not come to that point. We are not conducting primaries of presidential primaries today. What we are still interested and we are concerned. What we are concerned now is to put our house in order, to stabilize PDP, to do the party congresses, to do all the needful and put our house in order. When it gets to that point of primary, we will field our candidate. PDP will field presidential candidates. Are you hearing me?
Who will you be voting for in 2027?
For me personally.
Right.
Is it not a secret ballot?
But are you a PDP member?
But is it for presidential? Is that for presidential?
For all the positions that will be
I will vote for PDP candidates.
Top to bottom?
Yes, I vote for PDP candidates.
And do you not doubt people who say that they're going to vote for somebody else?
It's their personal, I say, really? that's their, for you, you're an individual. Right. You're a citizen of Nigeria. You have the freedom of expression, freedom of association. You have the right to choose whoever you want to choose.
Right.
In that election day, where you go, you want to choose your candidate. I will choose my own.
You don't have a problem with the FCT
I will choose with the statistics and quality from whatever is the antecedents and pedigree of that candidate. Right. That will now inform me about who I'm going to choose.
If I can get a yes or no, because we're completely out of time. You don't have a problem with the FCT minister saying he's going to work for the Tinubu administration?
I have explained to you before.
No, just yes or no.
The last time in 2023, what did he tell you?
That's not the question. I'm asking you about what's to come.
2023, what did he tell you?
I'm asking you about 2027.
Last 2023, he worked. Who did he work for?
I'm asking you about 2027.
That's why I told you I had to even give you that analogy, about that quotation by Chinua Achebe. A man who cannot say where the rain began to beat him, cannot say where there was a place where this rain began to beat us, both Nigerians and even my party. And I pray to God that we will be able to dry our body and stabilize our party. for the betterment of Nigerian society. Thank you so much.
Barrister Okechukwu, thank you so much for joining the conversation this
evening. Thank you for having me.
I appreciate the analysis.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much.
You.
All right, that is a wrap on tonight's edition of Daily Politics. We'll be back tomorrow live at 8 p.m. Until next time, I'm Abdullahi Ahmed. Thank you for watching.